Snow's looking a little bit better this time than last year, but it's early.
I don't mean anything.
Don't mean anything, because you get a hot, windy 2 weeks, and all the extra snow that's falling today could all evaporate. We're low enough in the watersheds that we have this. All watersheds have this problem, even in Alaska. Snow, you can hang out frozen pants on the clothesline, and in Alaska they'll dry because it goes straight from the ice. Pants are frozen to the air. It just takes a lot longer for them to dry. But here, being in the southern part with our winds, as you guys all know, and the high winds up in those mountains, and the dry winds that they can be at times coming out of the Southern California, we can evaporate significant amounts of the snowpack. So we always have to wait to see what actually turns up in the river.
We always wait till it's in the dam, or almost.
We always wait till it's in the dam. We may be happy that it's on the way, but we wait, we reschedule.
We're at least optimistic.
Yeah, the 2008 operating agreement doesn't allow anything to be allocated except for what's its usable water and storage.
And the more.
So I could throw a bunch of numbers up on the screen, but I'm going to save that for when they start to mean something, which will be next month. That's usually their first. You get the snow report has those numbers in it. I can't rely on those numbers now. They look reasonable, a little bit better than last year, but we got to wait until those numbers don't become significant until mid-February. So I'm trying to be not too negative. Everybody's good dead silent. Like we're at a funeral or something.
Cautiously optimistic.
Right.
We're silently free.
Anything else, Mr. Dr. Blair?
That's it. There's a start.
All right, Pete Rowe, you're on.
Good morning. So I got a short presentation just from November, December, some of the projects that are out there. The mowing, as far as the delivery system, we've already pretty much stopped until about March or April, once I see it coming back up. So right now, all our mowers are in the shop, getting redone to get ready for next season. What do you got there?
What do you need? Oh, it's there, right next to you.
Oh,
It's already on picture.
thank you.
There you go.
Whoops, what I did?
Turned it off.
Those are short.
I was gonna be short.
We're done.
You sent a short report.
I'll just tell them I'll advance it for you. I don't know
Okay.
why. There you go.
Okay, so right now, we completely ran out of 24-inch pipe or head walls. So I got a crew out there building head walls right now. I've got already 3 that I'm waiting on. One of them will be for a customer on the Guadalupe that needs to be installed. And then 2 will go into the ponds on the riverside. So we're hoping to pour those here by Friday. And then we'll just move and put the turnout parts on them and get them installed. I believe you had a question, Mr. Brooks, on some of the 60-inch CMP pipes that we purchased. Those right there were actually reimbursable because they were actually for a job. Okay, and this is one of the jobs. And this one here, we installed it on Tuesday. We're backfilling today. We should be completed with it today. This is over by the middle drain over for Mr. Jared Rogers. Okay. And like I mentioned, this will be done by today. This is part of the grant that we received a couple of years back. This is on the Montoya Main from the Montoya A heading all the way down to the check by Lincoln Middle School. So we're doing all the earthwork right now and getting ready for shotcrete. This will not have any rebar in it, so it'll just reinforce fiber. I'm hoping to have, get this started as far as the concrete work, hopefully by next month, the end of next month. This is the riverside. Same thing, we're finishing the last 1,000 feet from the grant that we received a couple of years back. This one does have panels in it. This is right below Walcott or Ding Dinger Road.
Really narrowed that old canal down.
Yes, we did. So this here, all the liners in, 90% of the rebar is in. We will start shooting this starting tomorrow. So we got about 600 yards that we need to pour here. And then this is the ponds. This is actually looking at inside the ponds. I like getting that dirt out of there. Working alongside with Elle to try to get maybe Bain to come out here and use some of this big trucks to get that out of the pond area. So piles inside. This is the ditch that's gonna tie in from the partidor to that last pond to feed that last pond. And the ditch has been done. Right now, we're shaping it already and getting it up to grade.
Yeah, we'll open the proposal for the movement or the removal of the dirt. It's just hauling if it's short haul, but right now, the Bain's the one we've talked to that has any availability, and then there's not very much guaranteed there either, right?
Right,
We're not certain we can even get them. So if you guys know anybody that wants to, but you gotta have, Bain's got the right equipment to do it.
Yes, yes.
And so we need,
So here you see the ditch already taking shape. And then this is the tie-in where we're gonna bring the water in from the partidor into the pond. So we had to dig all this out. That section there, we had to cut through the concrete. That's what we're doing there. And there's the hole already cut through the concrete. This is actually looking at from the back side. We're installing a 60-inch pipe from there, approximately about 100 feet, and tying it into the ditch that we made. There's the pipe already going in place.
that's, on the $500 list, that's the pipe that you purchased, right?
Yes, that's part of
60-inch
the 60 inch, yes, sir.
CMP.
Yes. I purchased this pipe along with some for a job that we did for Paso Pican.
Yeah, initially, it's about 100 foot.
This is 100 feet, yes.
Yeah, we were gonna do two 200-foot runs, but to save money, we cut back to one,
Right.
because the one run will handle all the water we have for return flow.
So as we speak, right now, we're installing the head wall on the front part of it. That way, if Robert needs to start running water, we'll be out of his way and we can continue on the other side. Install some cement collars. Here we're already backfilling. We have to backfill this in. They'll be able to get the crane in there to drop the hardware for the head wall. Those 60-inch get kind of heavy. Now this is the discharge that's gonna go into the riverside. So this one here is also about a 200-foot run. And here we have two dual 24s going into the ponds. This is where those head walls that we're building, this is where they're gonna go. To keep water from coming from the ponds into the riverside. You see where they go into the ponds there. So these have been already backfilled, and we're just waiting on those head walls to be completed so we can go ahead and install them. And pretty much that's the projects we got going as of this moment. Any questions for me, or any suggestions, recommendations?
Great report.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good work.
Thank you.
All right, Roberto, Water use and availability, you can answer that sitting down, right?
Yeah.
No, it's starting to get a lot of calls down here from people ready to running water, so as of this morning, we already got 1,500 acres for return flow, ready for the 1st of February, so 1st of February we'll start diverting, picking up all the water that's in the Rio Grande, and Rio Grande will go dry downtown and everything else, and the 1,500, I'm thinking by the time we get to February, we'll probably be about 3,000 there, up there, Unit 9, that's where all the acres are at. And they're very concerned, and this morning, a couple of farmers called because the snowpack, like I was saying, they got quite a lot of snow here the past 2 days, and we're gonna release in March. You know, it's not gonna happen, and I told them, is that, you know, I can't speak for the board, but it's gonna be in June, guys. Nothing's gonna
You
happen.
just basically remember last year, you said if something changes for the good, then we'll change it. But
Yeah,
otherwise, plan on next year,
He said,
this year being last year's.
and the only good thing about it is that maybe we'll have a little bit longer to continue the season at the end instead of running out in the middle of August, but that's it.
You just don't know? You just don't know.
Well, we'll start, you know, as soon as Pete, I think Pete wants to run a little bit of water into those ponds before we turn flow. And as soon as he gets the chance to test it, then we're going right into the return flow.
Tell Pete he can have the water, but then he can turn the wells on and pump it back in the canal.
Yeah. Don't tell him that. It's a secret. But some of the farmers are I think for the past couple of years, a lot of people, they like to irrigate early and then they'll just wait for like the pecans, they irrigate early and then they'll wait until May or June after the cotton to pick up some water.
Well, if you can get some of that water, or if you have to use a well, it takes less well water and you get it faster, so.
Yeah.
Get it pumped, irrigated, I guess you can.
That's been working good, right, Robert?
It's been working real good.
Got the con guys out early and then.
Well, you know, and the one thing can get ready, Larry, some of them can't get ready early enough in February, but, you know, we get the water in February and then in March, it's basically the cotton people that get the water, and good thing about the cotton people, they're cotton people, they're not the cotton people. So once they get water for their cotton, they're pretty well, they don't ask for no more water, so we can utilize it better on the pecans that way.
Usually the 1st of June is when you come with your second irrigation.
And it's crazy, Johnny, but you know, the way I see it, every time before we release water, everybody that pecans are almost all watered out right in that first part of the season, the 1st of June. And that's the way it always works out.
That's the way the demand is.
Yeah, that's the way the demand is, so.
Which gives you an idea how to program it.
So, the past couple of years, we've been doing the 25th of May to try to get the water down here, but I think if we wait a little week longer, like we did this last year, worked out a little better. It's just to see what the river's gonna do, it's sometimes it misbehaves, and
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's a moving target.
we're ready to go. If you guys need some water, get your orders in.
So everybody knows, put their orders in.
We started taking orders, anybody calls in, Johnny, you know,
But everybody's aware of that.
yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you what's happening on those pecans though, is the seasons have dragged on and we're using a lot of well water. I don't know if Larry noticed it, but I saw it a lot this year, the trees, you know, not only are we growing salted pecans, but the salt's starting to show up on the tree shaking this year. If you looked at those shakers around the valley, there's a lot more unusual wood cracking. I think our trees are getting, it's hurting them. It's a matter of time, making them a lot weaker, these trees
Really?
are, yeah, this year especially, I noticed it. Not just on my farm, everybody, not just, you know.
Well, you know, our.
So salted pecan wood,
You need good water.
we need good water. Yeah.
That's the only cure right
Yeah,
there.
you need good
And we're
water.
only putting, in my case, what, maybe 3 irrigations out of 9
So where are the cracks showing up at the first?
in the shaking.
Yeah, I know, from the shaking, but where in the tree?
The tips though?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the tips are always if they get real brittle, but I'm talking right below that, you're seeing some breakage on some wood that should be fairly solid.
Like 2 inch
It's like
stuff, or?
2 inch stuff is breaking, it's usually about 4 or 5 inches down below that crow footing. So you're losing all that little crow footing too for yield of next year, because you know they never yield the year out. So you can see where that saw went, and just some unusual breakage that, so I attribute it to salt. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. And I used to not see
It's
that.
certainly part of the equation.
Yeah.
Everybody's knocking down the wood.
Yeah, our trees are getting more sickly, I
It
guess.
definitely wasn't as cold.
No.
That's why we're monitoring out there.
There you go.
I've noticed it for
You're
the
gonna
last,
tell me
for the last 3 years.
Well, I had it repeated to me, so.
Yeah, it's getting, every year. We just need good, and the only cure is good water.
And that's what you're saying, Art, is we hit them with early well water, and then we hit them with good water, but toward the end, we still come back and give them well water, and hopefully this year, maybe we'll get enough water to get us to September and keep them with good water. I mean,
I
maybe
will
it
tell
helps.
you, it is the water that we have been able to deliver out of the dam, which is not an easy chore, is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
We were doing nothing but
Yeah.
pumping.
It's your, and even your return flow that you're talking about being salted, it is, it's better than on average my wells.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's still better, it's not good on it, but it, that return flow, but it's better than my well.
That's better than most everybody's wells.
We used to farm the whole valley almost always on return flows back when the dry ditches ran, remember? Ours always ran about 1,100 and Elton Butte was like 600.
Yeah, we used to have 250,000 acre feet of return flow.
Yeah.
So,
The whole
And 1,100 is good water for us at this point.
yeah, it was reservoir water, just took it, just hadn't quite got down there. And
That was
the
the only
field-
benefit of them pumping up there is dry enough to drain, but then there's not enough water to fill in. I mean, we weren't having it, because our part of our allotment then was not return flows, because they're on.
Even the upper
We have
valleys
better quality.
having damage already.
Yeah, they're starting to see it. Well, those guys are crying, they don't even have an idea. But yeah,
There's a lot of those areas around Benton and all that water's terrible.
and if you get towards the eastern side, yeah, a lot of that stuff.
Them trees don't look that good anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no,
They don't. I've seen them, I live down there, and they're starting to complain.
yeah.
It's like, what we're having down here.
Well, Roberts, you do a good job, man.
Okay, so the
I
guys
think
go
like-
out there to tell them February 1st.
Of all the jobs in the world that I would not want is yours.
I don't even want him to say.
I know. But you enjoy all the controversy.
It makes it easier when you have a good group of people working with us,
Oh,
I'll say
yeah.
that help.
There's
Not all
nothing easy-
myself.
There's nothing easy about it.
Yeah, but we make it done. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Robert. Keep up the good work. You can put up with Pete, you're doing okay, right?
That's true. That's the word for it
Or
right
Pete
there.
with you, I don't know. That's kind of a mutual deal right there. Thanks.
It's like a married couple.
It's like this guy's a Sundance kid. John, I don't know how to swim.
Yes. Should we go into closed session, or should we do all this other stuff? You had some stuff you wanted to talk about?
We can do most of the licensing if you want.
Okay, let's get that out of the way. Item number 12A, if you'll notice, well, in 13 more, that Sharon has kind of bunched these things together in groups, like A, B, C, and we can pass them all at once in each group with one motion. We've been trying to do that, but she's made it easier for us. Okay, the first one is an application 3290 by George Dipp for a 611 Meadowlark subdivision.
It's up on your screen. The location is there up, it's in the Upper Valley. It's one lot becoming three. They're subdividing and it's going to become 3 lots. And taxes have been paid. Operations, water has approved the subdivision, so licensing approves it, recommends it for approval.
Okay. So we just need to approve the application, right?
Yes.
Where is that exactly, Meadowlark? That's in the old country club.
That's right.
Yes.
Right down the street for the old country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right
Close to the willows.
See, look there.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve license 1638 for the application?
1390, sorry.
So moved.
Sorry,
Yes.
3290 application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need a motion first.
Yeah,
Art
Art
makes
makes
a
a
motion, George second, George second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, application number 13.
Application 1638 by El Paso Electric is our renewal for the one-year license for the right-of-way, district-wide, and operation maintenance. We bring you this license yearly, and licensing recommends it for approval.
Yeah, this is the normal maintenance one that
Yes.
we use. Didn't we,
Anything for that?
yeah, didn't we just jump up the rate on
Well,
that?
last year it was at 20,000. Yes,
For the whole system?
yes,
And was that an increase?
I believe it was. I can look into it.
I would recommend, since these are annual ones, and that's, I think, the reason why we did it, probably issue about this, is we go ahead and adjust for the consumer index
Yeah,
and inflation each year.
or something.
Is that part of the license agreement?
No, we just did one-year licenses. The board wanted to take these 1 years at a time so you could review them every single year. When we have multi-year license, we put that in, but my recommendation to you is we go ahead and if 20,000 was the fee for last year.
That was the original fee since the license was approved the first time, so
Okay,
it's
so-
remained.
But it's only been a few years.
It's like the fourth year, this might be the fourth year, maybe the fifth, but yeah, it's like the fourth year of the level.
Well, that's 4 years of inflation we should adjust for. So if that's what
Are you talking about adjusting for it now, not to approve this without the adjustment, or what are you talking about?
I'm asking you to approve this with the adjustment of $20,000 times the
With the
CPI
caveat.
multiplier for the inflation for the
For
last
just the
4 years.
1 year, if it's been 4 years, or just?
Well, that's, the board has requested an annual contract. For the last 4 years, you've done an annual
Talking about
contract.
the increase of the CPI, but is it included all the other years?
Yeah, it would include all the years since the original.
Okay,
First two would be about 2% a year, but recently it's at,
yeah, this last year would be.
yeah, it'd be about 8% less and 6 or 7 this or something like that, so it'd be,
Okay.
so anyways, it'd be an adjustment for inflation.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve license 1638?
How much is that adjustment?
It's posted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so we would look up those numbers. We use it in most of all of our multi-year contracts, so I can look those up right now for you, but I don't have that in front of me, but it'd been about 2%. Assume this is a 4-year-old adjustment. So for, what would that be, 2019, 2020, 21, and 22? It'd be about 2% for 19 and 2% for 20. For 21, it'll be more, and then for 22, it'll be even more.
Does the license have a clause for that?
It doesn't need one, and it specifically doesn't have one
Because
because
it's
it's a
an
1-year
annual.
contract. But you guys have that. We had intended to do that, and apologize if we hadn't caught that for previous years.
Okay, so then the motion.
We do it in almost every one of our contracts. This one, for whatever reason, it wasn't done.
Well,
We should correct that.
We could simplify by just coming up with numbers, say 25, couldn't
It's compounded.
we? Yeah, I know, but I said 25 this year, then we start to,
I would recommend we follow the procedure,
From
really
the
should have been in
beginning?
there, that you have me adjusted for the consumer price index for the
Okay.
last
Okay.
4
Do
years.
I hear a motion?
Move to
20,
approve.
25 is only about.
Move to approve.
25%.
Do I hear a motion to approve
Well,
license
20,
1638
well,
with
With the caveat of.
Johnny.
the inflation adjustment?
Johnny, I move to approve.
Okay, so
Recommended
Miguel
by
makes a
the-
motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Larry seconds, all in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Okay.
The next two are application 3220, 3221 by Lumen, and it's fiber optic cable subsurface licensing, recommended for approval.
Who is Lumen?
Lumen is from
Century.
CenturyLink.
Who?
Fiber optic.
CenturyLink.
Century, okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the applications under item 13B?
Wait, question. I don't want to sound too much like Mr. Spear, bless his soul, but,
You could never go back to that.
what, What sort of remuneration are we getting in that case? Is it the standard,
Well, there isn't a standard.
I know there is no standard, so what,
Okay, so for aerial and directional drilling,
this is a subsurface,
right,
Subsurface both lines.
these are both subsurface, but you're gonna have some aerials come
Yes,
up.
we're gonna have some
We use a rate that is consistent among all the applicants that aren't taxpayers. We
Okay.
hardly have any taxpayers ever, none here.
Good.
And sharing that, that rate's been adjusted, and what's, it is 50 cents a square foot per year.
square foot or something like that, okay. Now, I only ask, because remember, the city nearly always gets some sort of residual on these kind of companies.
They have, the city has franchise fees,
Franchise.
which are similar to what we do, but
Right.
we're not authorized directly to have franchise. The franchise
Okay,
is.
so we charge them
For use of-
We charge
for use of
them
the
a lease,
so much a square foot, okay,
equivalent of lease, it's a license.
okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the applications under item 13B?
So,
Larry makes the motion. Motion? Favor second?
Second.
George seconds, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Remember, those are paid in advance, so there's no need to adjust for
Okay.
inflation.
Item 13C, 19
Nineteen
applications.
applications by NC Metro Access. They're all in various locations. Some are subsurface, some are aerial,
Okay.
and licensing within these sources.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve all the applications under 13C, 19?
They are all for 25 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question on these, the ones we're gonna be processing as a lump. Who's reviewing them and how are we checking them off? Are you reviewing them or are you blessing them, Jay? How's the process? That way, we're comfortable that all the check marks are in place, the cost is in place, all these things that are standard in our, as our protocol.
Dr. Blair and Alan have reviewed these, and as of last week, I reviewed some last month, but last week I reviewed 2 of these, but these had already been reviewed by Alan and Dr. Blair.
So there's a sign-off checklist of sorts?
Oh, yeah, there's a check,
Okay.
a fairly long check.
Because we have a pretty thorough process of check, requirements.
So, yeah, in fact, if we were to go through the process, it'd take quite a bit of time, and real quickly, I have to go through it. So there's really 5 people that have to review it, or 5 entities. So that's operations, maintenance, general manager, district engineer, and licensing. Licensing takes responsibility on working with Alice. Right now, Alice Darren has been filling in, but Jay's gonna take his place, and take my place too. So you get 2 get rid of 2 for the price of 1. Good. I'll do it. And we're happy. Both of us are happy to give that up. And then, of course, Sharon is the one that really makes sure that we don't miss something. She checks everybody, make sure all those groups are informed. Now, these tend to be fairly easy because they're subsurface, typically as much as 20 or 30 feet below our structure, or they're within a franchise utility location prescribed by El Paso Electric, which is what Pete's gone. What we're really worried about is the haunch, how much that falls. And they have to hire a professional engineer. Not a surveyor, a professional engineer tells us that he guarantees that the tension will be such in the cable that it will, I think it's 14.7, is that right?
Right.
So that's the number Pete gave us, that he wants at least 14.7 feet to get. I think that's probably the low boy with the large excavator. Is but fit, it's on 14.5. Assume he left a little bit.
Don't put their dirt on the bottom because.
Yeah, no.
These are all internet to the schools, and the good thing about most of these, like as Dr. Blair says, they're all aerial, and the ones that are subsurface, they are horizontal directionally drilled, so the machine sits at grade on the surface and drills, and they're off the district's right away, so they don't dig a hole or anything. That just bores and comes out way on the other side, away from the district right away, and they're typically 1-inch bores to 2-inch max, so they're, as far as the obstruction is very minimal.
And we've actually, I think the industry is getting tired, there actually are a type of bore, but directional drill is a unique type that's actually small diameter, but Comanche was a directional drill. But another one is jack and bore, which we have those. You'll see those jack and bore, and these we call directional drill, very specifically because we do not allow jack and bores to occur during the water season, except for on drains. And they typically don't like doing them on drains for numerous reasons. So those require a deep pit and right next to a canal. And then they put the equipment down there and they go horizontally. So they typically have to de-water and they potentially put our canal in stress, and we make them concrete line after, right? So if you see the word bore in any of our licenses, it's for something that's serious and we won't allow it to happen except under ideal conditions. If you see directional drill, we'll allow that to almost happen anytime, except for not a 42-inch directional drill. That one, you guys recall, caused a lot of problems.
But it turned out good.
Well, if, there's a check and balance, obviously, the engineering side and the management side for conformance, which is, at the end of the day, I just want to we're comfortable that there's so many variables, but
Oh, yeah.
a lot of these are very typical, and I get it, but there's certain instances where there's a separate case-by-case basis that I'm gonna assume that you guys pull that out of the lumping and say, we can address it separately, because it's, that would be my concern.
These are all the same type.
Miguel, the lumping is for our benefit.
I got you.
They decided to do that, make it easier on us. And we might have to go.
And make sure these are all the same. Any of these have been, just to feed into it, so you guys understand, like I said, we spent a whole day showing license got such a long, it's been 25 years since developing this process in our license manual. We really break these things out in three major categories, and there's four really. Anything's for the district, those crossings, like farm crossings, under special, drought crossings, those are all handled differently, but to the same specifications. But then when we get to third-party use, we have these, which are pretty straightforward and not too hard. They still have to make sure they don't mess it up. Believe me, they would if we let them. They get out there and dig on our bank if they could.
Yeah.
So we don't let them do that. So then the next one is like sort of a routine crossing that's not very intrusive. Something maybe already exists and they're just modifying it, or needs head walls or turnout. For a third party, not water using it. But we don't have too many of those. Really what we have is a third category, which is they want to disturb the earth. They want to dig in our canal, and they want to put concrete in our canal, open cut. And those, as you guys already know, like this Nuevo Tanks Road activity up there, we have a lot of them there. Those things are really intensive. I mean, David's not here to talk about it, but it's from the day they start submitting drawings to the day we get them out of there is a very long process. We charge quite a bit more for those. We probably need to think about charging even more. That rate hasn't increased in the year.
Ever get things back to where it began with, if it's open trenches,
Very, and at any point, they could damage us.
Right.
except for a long time.
And we're stuck with it forever.
For contractors.
Ever and ever, that's
I
it.
agree.
Always.
So those ones are the ones Jay and I lose sleep over.
Yeah, and this is the initial process on the approval, and obviously, once it goes out, the licensee contacts us prior to mobilizing for construction, and then David deploys, and, I will go out there, so yeah.
Right.
So we
Just
oversee
follow up.
all of that,
Okay.
but yeah, this is the initial process, and for the most part, I think everybody is already well aware of the procedures in the district, so that always helps. Every now and then, we have a new contractor, we got to steer back in line.
Johnny, if that's okay, I'd like to make a move a motion to
Okay.
approve as recommended by administration and reviewed by their engineer.
Okay, all the items under 13C, right? Okay, Miguel makes the motion to approve all the items under 13C. Do I hear a second?
Second.
George seconds, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign.
If I can say something real quick, talking to Mr. Duran about the department, just so that you know that, I want to compliment Sharon too, and you all should know she's done an excellent job in this department now that she's taken over it. So she works very well with Dr. Blair and now Jay, but of course she was trained by
She's been
Jay.
running it for years.
Yeah.
It's recognized.
So she's very efficient, she's on top of everything, so just to make you a little more comfortable about
I
it,
think that's well-
she's doing very well.
Well stated and
Thank you.
and timely.
Okay.
Like I say, she's been running it for years, but now we'll recognize it.
Yes, so my
Yeah,
compliments.
great job there.
She's a great asset. She wasn't listed among the assets in the report, but she
Thanks, Sharon.
And, you know, there's this, the history Johnny talked about earlier on too, that this license that we've used for so long was written by Mr. Spear, and Mr. Spear's the first one that, and when he hired, you know, the board hired me to work with you, 30 years ago, or 28 years ago on some of these issues, we were in quite a few lawsuits, as you guys, some of you guys remember, and we got all that straightened out, and Sharon came on pretty early in this process, and Stearman was very instrumental in setting up our archives and getting all that done. Jay came in and added his part to it for years and really took it, and the two of them, and now Sharon's doing, really got it down. And believe me, without all the stuff she does, the whole thing would fall apart.
Yeah, you know, and this is all part of the evolution of the district. For a long, long time, the Bureau of Reclamation took care of all this stuff, and they gave everything away. I mean, you just weren't telling what you're gonna do and go do it. So it was an evolution for the district when we took it over and became the owners of this deal. This is one thing I'll never forget is when Spear kept saying, you gotta charge for this. You're talking about taxpayers' property. You cannot give it away. I mean, he was adamant about it. And that's where, and really and truthfully, the biggest part of our revenue comes from those sources now.
Yes.
Our taxes are the least amount, thank God, and I hope the taxpayers appreciate it because we could never run this district on taxpayer money except it was really a lot higher. And you can thank Mr. Spear for that. I'll never forget him, and we used to argue about it, but the Bureau used to give it away, and there was no problem.
Do any of these require, do you have to occasionally run these by Phil Bowen or something?
We run them all.
You run them all by Phil? Yeah, make sure.
The biggest time Phil gets involved is, he knows this, is when somebody tries to do something different, right? If anybody wants a.
Well, Phil, tell them not to run it by it, to let you have time to look at it.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, for example, we had primarily there's been other governmental entities that required changes to the license. And I think the last one, the city wanted 3 changes, I think the answers were no, no, and no, right? That's what he said.
We love that.
In that order, if you want to do it in reverse order, it's the same.
We love that word.
Yeah. So he gets to be the bad cop, which is unusual because it's usually J or B.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, let's move on to item 15. I think we need to go into closed session. We'll talk about any of that in open session. Or
We can talk about the first 2 if you want to.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. I mean, this is your.
I think the first 2 are we know, one is, there's I'm not sure the order there, which is the first one.
The seepage.
Yeah, let's do it, if you don't mind, we'll reverse order. We're talking about the Montoya main lateral.
Item C first.
Yeah. Item B.
C.
B,
B,
boy.
BB is in boy.
I don't have my,
That's all I'm telling you.
Do you need me to bring them back?
yeah, I need, I actually need them both back if I can.
You want to call
So
them right there?
we'll go to item A now, since I'd asked them to be here. They need to speak up on this, because this is, B is for them, and they need to say what they want to do, how critical B is.
Okay.
Item A was for engineering, and there is a copy of item A that's in number 15. And it's a different type of grant. This one is a grant for studying, well, they call it a systems operation review.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what this is really about.
Whose brainchild is it?
That's reclamation, that's the title. I think this is Omar. I don't know that engineering didn't request it, but it's related to
Well,
some
no, I mean,
engineers.
who in the Bureau is wanting this? What's the purpose?
It's just a grant that they have available to all districts to hire consultants to come in and look at their operations to see if something should be changed. This one isn't written, they approved it, it's been approved, it's been awarded to this. You guys have to decide if you want to accept the award. It's not really systems operation review. It's more geared towards running field tests and environmental work that we would use in submitting future grants. So, and it's 50-50, 50% of it would be from the federal government, 50% from you guys. So it's a real out-of-pocket expense.
The 50% is not money though, it's in kind.
No, this one, it's money. We might be able to do, Pete comes back, Pete's so busy right now, and this is off, the part that Pete could do on this is for off-season, it can only be done in off-seasons, so I'm not sure we have, these are sort of booked up for the next couple of years. But we could do some of that, but we may have to hire a third party.
Is it worth anything to us?
I don't know. You know, obviously, if it was 100% grant, I would say, yeah, I think it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking worth being with the amount of money we spend it, do we get the bang for the buck?
The primary thing you get out of this is some of the engineering and environmental work for the Riverside regulating resident, which is a significant thing. But it is not, and I don't want to, some of this work would have to be done by me because I'd supervise that, but we'd have to hire another engineer. The one that we've already discussed with the board, and we probably bring, you know, a multitude of engineers back to you, would be the one that I work with closely has been AECom on these issues. They have pretty good knowledge of our district and because they've helped with the city on the flood.
So you think it would, how much money are you talking about? I don't think that's.
100,000 from the, a little bit more than 100,000 from the district and 100,000 from reclamation.
So we're getting it for 50% discount.
Yeah, I guess. It's every federal reclamation project comes with an overhead, so.
If we did the whole work, it'd be 200,000, so we're gonna.
Well, if we did the whole work, let's say it'd be 180,000 for us to do it, and it'll be 200 if we do it.
And you were gonna ask,
So I'm not making a recommendation, I'm leaving it up to the board.
This is for a seepage, I still don't know what it's for.
It's for doing some seepage tests all throughout the valley. I don't know exactly that needs done, we've already done a whole bunch of seepage tests throughout the valley, but you can always do more. There's no, I guess, reclamation one, maybe
probably
more.
change.
But it's primarily for doing the environmental work, finding other ponds.
Around the ponds.
Yeah.
And so where are we gonna need that? Whenever we try to put it in operation, we're gonna have to have.
So if we were to submit a grant to
We'd
reclamation,
have to have NEPA supply.
yeah, we have to have NEPA work done as either part of the grant, it'll be done under the grant, or it'll be already done prior. I think it gives you a higher ranking in the grant for having this work already done. Not doing it. And right now, you know, we were trying to get the grants to build Riverside Regulating Reservoir. We were soliciting the United States to do an 80-20, similar to what the Ace Canal was. And we haven't got that done. That's something that they may
That
not
would be
able to
part and
do.
parcel of this would help aid in.
It would help us probably get that award if we'd have more work done to show that it's a viable project. So we'll go into that. But the district hasn't done this type of grant before.
Then if we do the grant, well, then we'll need NEPA, obviously. If we don't have any of that, then we don't need NEPA to operate it.
We need to do, if we have water development board, we do what's called an environmental summary. No, we own that property, it's not federal land, it's our property.
But will it go, well, but if we get the grant, they'll want NEPA, I mean, everything
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, if we use their money, if we use the water development board, say, we don't, it's not federal, so it's state money. The only thing else we could do is try, which is too late now for this one, is we could have coupled this grant with a grant from Water Development Board to pay for maybe 100% of it. So in other words, the feds allow you to match with state funds against federal funds instead of
We'll
our
have
funds.
that.
We didn't do that, and it's too late to do
The
that.
process is gonna do that, or?
We could do that in future applications. This one is present in front of you right now.
We're already building the dam.
Now, we're building the Socorro Ponds.
Yeah.
The Riverside Regulators is the big project. The temporary project's the Socorro Pond. We're just using the Socorro
Okay.
Pond.
So there's a larger reservoir part that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the Socorro Ponds is 30 acres and the Riverside Regulating Reservoir is 300 acres. So they're two different, well, what you guys wanted is split the ponds to use as quick as we could. And that's what Pete showed you, a 30 acre. We're just salvaging one of the cells for the existing. And
Well, then you probably, or do I hear that you recommended that we do try to go, get these deals, grants from Texas Water Development Board and feds? The reason I'm kind of confused whether or not to spend this money or not. If it's going to help us in something that we're sure we're gonna head forward into doing it, that's one thing. If it's maybe, you wanna spend a maybe.
that's, what's a maybe?
It's a maybe.
But, I mean, you guys have, there's $100,000 of district's money here when we're already, as your
And this-
auditor told you on we're
And
trying
this
to
grant's
conserve.
already granted.
The grant
The
is.
money's there.
The money's there, it's been awarded to us if you guys accept the award.
100,000, we'd have to match 100,000. And principally, we would use it to do our seepage trials around the,
7 different facilities, 7 different locations.
okay, but most of the around the riverside, what we would hope would be the riverside regulating pond.
There's on page 7 of the proposal.
Jay, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, this is really, to me, it's Jay and the district that's making the decision.
I mean,
I'm
you
backing
have
off.
an idea, but I'm trying to understand if there's any
There's benefits and
benefits,
detracts.
yeah, I mean, which way outweighs the.
We've done some seepage analysis around the riverside already that,
I have a question.
Dr. Blair has conducted previously.
Well, and UTEP and,
Yeah.
and other people.
We've done a lot of.
So you think we already have the data in existence?
Well, no, if you look on it, a contractual, you got down, a lot of the money spent